This is the Hollywood Outsider. I am your host, Aaron Peterson. With me today are my co-hosts, Scott Clark.
My name is Scott Clark, and I'm an alcoholic.
It's about fucking time. And Brian Williams from the great state of Georgia.
Hey there, how's it going?
That's going great. With us today, we also have a guest host, and that is Brad Peterson. Hi, Brad.
Hello.
No relation. Brad is my brother, but actually he's probably the most experienced in terms of any kind of film here because he's been working at a TV studio for close to a decade.
Went to film school, too.
Yeah, he went to film school, too. And he actually won an award for editing, right?
Audio.
Audio?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I can't help you at the show, though.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. Well, as a guest host, one of our rules is we need to know what your top 3 favorite movies are so we kind of have an idea what you like.
Okay. I know you're probably expecting me to pick, like,
some random Japanese shit.
Random shit, yeah. I'm a Japanese aficionado, but I actually don't have any Japanese movies listed.
He has sushi in his blood.
Yeah. Anyways, first 2 are kind of tied. It just depends on what... I'm the kind of person you're going to ask me what my favorite movies are, and, like, ask me next week, I'll probably change my mind. But first 2 usually pretty much always the same, and that's first one is Taxi Driver.
Okay.
Which... I mean, not really much I have to say about it, It's Taxi Driver, but I'm pretty much a sucker for like anything that's like that 70s New York, that gritty, and I like character movies, so obviously that's really good. I don't know. I just always liked that movie. Second one, completely different, is the French film Amélie. I like a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That surprises me, because I know some of the shit you like, and that surprises me that you like that. That's kind of a sweet movie.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's yeah, and it's real sweet. Just really great. I like the storytelling in it. It looks great. Third one, a little bit probably more what you're expecting, is the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that's closer.
Yeah, which I don't know really much to say about that. It's just I like horror movies a lot. It's probably what I know best, and it's up there as one of my favorites. It's when I thought George Romero and like Tom Savini and stuff, those guys were all at their prime, and it was just different at that time too, because it's like a long, I wouldn't say epic, but it's elongated like movie. There's a lot going on to it. It's not just your simple.
And it's a lot more
story.
guerrilla film instead of like so pristine and perfect. I mean, it looks like it was made by somebody who doesn't have much money.
Yeah, which they probably didn't, but
no, they didn't.
There's also a lot of stuff different going on because it happens over a period of time too. It's not just an incident, especially zombie movies at that time. It's not just we're getting attacked by zombies. That's it. It's them getting to the mall, surviving, etc. Whatever.
It's a good movie. Do you like the remake?
No, fucking hate the remake.
Well, see, but see, I think I've heard that a lot from people that love the original. They don't like the remake. People that just kind of like the original, they like the new one.
Yeah.
So why don't what don't you like about the new one?
It just seems like any kind of generic Hollywood zombie movie, just because there was that big that came out right at that time with the big influx after like 28 Days Later. So like all those movies all look the same, and I mean, probably out of all the remakes in the last like 15 years or so, it's probably one of the better ones, but it doesn't mean I like it. Because, like, especially with like horror movies, like the remakes, the last like 15 years have all been shit. Like, I can't think of one good one I liked. So.
I got to ask you, because you're talking about remakes. What's your thoughts about the upcoming remake of Evil Dead?
I could really care less, I guess.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I just don't really have much of an opinion. I'm not a huge Diablo Cody fan. I think she's kind of one-trick pony. That I like Juno a lot, but after that, I could really care for what she's doing. I know she's only doing the polishing, but I got a feeling like that movie's gonna be full of quirky dialogue and shit I could really care
clever
about.
retorts.
Yeah, it's just gonna scream hipster. So
okay.
I don't know.
Well, those are good choices. I like them.
I was surprised by Amelie. I was been the last movie I would have expected to hear from you.
I paid, before it came out in the U.S., I paid about $40 for an Australian Blu-ray of that movie.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, and then, of course, like a year later, it came out in the U.S.
Did I miss something? Like, does she get gutted at the end? Because that's
I was going to say, this is a guy we went to a pre-screening of Bubba Hotep with.
Yeah.
And he was the most excited guy of the group.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, yeah.
Well, that's great. You have a sensitive side. I'm
yeah, I mean, I like all kinds of movies, but I think anything that's really like the extreme, I guess, cinema or whatever, a knowledge of, but doesn't necessarily mean it's like my favorite movies, you know. Also, a lot of that too comes from liking special effects and makeup effects and stuff like that. So sometimes like I go to see like really gory movies because I just want to see the effects. I don't really think of it as being realistic or whatever, you know.
Now, last time I talked to you, weren't you talking about a script you wrote that you were working towards doing something with?
Yeah, it's just right now, like the horror genre in general is just kind of fucked. So it's kind of stepping away from that and focusing on other things right now.
Like vampires?
No. Like,
like vampires. Okay, well, those are Brad's top 3 movies. I recommend, actually, all 3 of them are good choices.
Thanks for
Not that
coming on, Brad.
Not that I was expecting crap. I just was expecting more eclectic
well, yeah,
choices.
I was debating on just making a fake list of just really fucking nasty shit, but no, I'd actually give the real 3.
That works. Well, let's get into what our show is. We talk every week about movie and TV news, what's coming down the pike. We review any new releases that we can. There really hasn't been much out. Next week, we will have reviews for Sherlock Holmes and hopefully Girl with a Dragon Tattoo if we get there in time. But this week, no reviews. We are going to talk about movie TV news, like I said. We'll have our little quiz section called Stump the Hoe, Mr. Scott Clark's turn. We talk about DVD releases that are coming out, and also our flashback DVD, which this week will be Brad's choice because he is the guest host.
Yay.
So with that, let's get into movie news. There's some Dark Knight Rises details that are out. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but here's a couple of the plot points that are out that aren't severely spoilerific, I guess. Okay, Bane is the main foe, which, if you guys remember Batman and Robin, Bane was in there, and horribly done. This time they're supposed to be taking it very seriously. Batman's going to be coming out of an 8-year retirement, so basically at the end of Dark Knight, when he runs away and says, you know, I'm going to go hide and shit, he actually does. The comics, Bane he truly damages Batman. He really fucks him up. Supposedly they're hinting that this could happen in the new film. There will be a surprise villain, of course, there always is. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I said it right the first time. His character is still pretty hush-hush. They don't really know what he's going to be. There's talk of maybe it's Robin. I certainly hope that's not the case. And Catwoman isn't an out-and-out villain. So we'll see what that. What do you guys think about all this? And granted, I left some of the spoiler stuff out. If you guys want to go, you can find it on the internet. If you want more spoilerific details, I don't want to ruin a movie for anybody.
I'll be the first to admit that I'm a huge fan of the reboots of the Batman series, but I don't know enough about the original lore. Like, I never read the comics, I didn't watch the cartoons too much. I just kind of know, the main characters. I think my biggest exposure to Batman was the original TV series back when I was a kid.
Okay.
The uber cheesy, like Biff Powell. That's the only reason I know some of the characters. That said, I'm kind of staying away from it just because I want to go into the story of Bane fresh. I don't know anything about him, what the stuff is on his face. So I'm excited about it. That when Dark Knight came out, that was my most anticipated movie for like a decade. And I foresee it being the same thing for me. I'm stoked about Batman.
What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Bane. I've seen him in the comic books a little bit. He always kind of seemed a bit campy or something, but Catwoman has always been kind of an ambiguous quote unquote villain or villainess anyway. She was supposedly Batman's girlfriend, I believe, for a little bit. But she was also, she did criminal activities, but she also kind of helped Batman sometimes. So there was this real, like I said, this ambiguity with her. So I'm sure they'll be playing that up in it. I didn't go into all the spoiler section because I want to go into the movie fresh. I don't mind knowing a few characters or, maybe one or two people they're introducing, but as far as the plot or anything, I want to know as little as possible going into this. So,
what do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, really nothing more to add. I always thought the Bane character, Bane was always kind of, he always seems like kind of like a henchman villain. He wasn't necessarily always the main villain. I've read some Batman comics, but I'm not, didn't keep up with it. But one of the series that I did pay attention to when I was younger was the whole Bane breaking Batman's back, and then they brought in like a replacement Batman named Azrael, and
like a backup,
kind of. But then like Azrael kind of got out of hand, where it's kind of it's something that, it'd be interesting with the right director or whatever if they went that story route, but I don't think they're going to, because there's a lot to that. But I really like Tom Hardy, so I mean, I'm in with him as Bane, even though, like I said, Bane feels like kind of like a generic character, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not trying to read too many spoilers or anything, because I'm not a huge fan of the new Batman movies, but they're definitely fun. They're definitely worth checking out. So,
Fair enough. All right, well, there's some quick sequel news. I'll mention them quick. Nothing too exciting and nothing too surprising, really, but Patty Jenkins bowed out of Thor 2, and Game of Thrones directors Alan Taylor and Daniel Minahan are the rumored directors. One of those are the rumored directors to take over. They don't know which one. So one of those will probably get Thor 2. Andy Serkis, who played the ape in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or the digital ape, he did the digital work. He confirmed that there is going to be another Apes movie. Not sure if James Franco is going to be in it. Oh no! That's a sarcastic.
Why is it always the secondary characters and actors
that confirm stuff?
Yeah, that always do they always kind of break the news, so to speak.
They're
I know
free.
It was like Bruce Boxleitner for Tron.
Yeah, that's true.
broke out that Tron 2 will be coming out or something like that. So.
Well, I think in this franchise, he's actually more the primary at this point. I mean, really, I don't want to give away the Rise of the Planet of the Apes ending or anything, but he kind of takes center stage. No.
Yeah, but your casual viewer doesn't really know that.
Yeah, that's true. I couldn't identify him on the street unless he was dressed up like a chimpanzee.
Oh, Andy Serkis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could.
You could identify him on the street?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's test it. Let's go to Hollywood right now. I want to walk around and see if you can point this fucker out.
Let's go.
Well, I've seen him in other stuff where he wasn't. I've seen him act in stuff where he's a normal guy without makeup and stuff.
He's kind of a weird looking dude, so he's easy to remember.
Well, he's confirming it, so there is going to be another. I don't know if they're going to say the Rise of the Apes or the Plateau of the Apes. I don't know what they're going to call it.
Continuing rise.
Yeah, the flattening out of the apes. And
Apes are here, bitches.
Lionsgate's Michael Burns hinted that there will be another Saw movie. I don't think anybody's surprised about that at all. Brad, you like horror. That's your favorite. What do you think about that?
I could care less. The last one I saw was part 5, and it was pretty god-awful. I think after the second one, it was pretty much just watching them out of there's nothing else to watch, and they come out every year. But I didn't like any. I like the first one. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
I'm in the exact same boat. The reason they keep making them is because people out there are looking for torture porn, and unfortunately they're the kind of people that give fans of horror or gore for artistic reasons instead of just to see weird shit on the screen. It gives us a bad name. That's gonna be what the 7th one.
8th.
That'd be 8.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great because Jigsaw died in like the 3rd one.
I know.
Yeah.
So
I just got to keep finding.
You know, a few years back when they did the Freddy versus Jason.
yeah, I love that movie. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, maybe they need to do like Saw and Scream team up or something. 2 overdone franchises that are, just I don't know, breathe a little bit of new life into both of them or something.
If you could figure out, yeah, like the Scream Killer takes over for Jigsaw, and you just
right,
there you
exactly.
go. And then at some point, a Wayne's brother pops up.
You know what's funny is Freddy vs. Jason was my first Freddy or Jason movie I ever saw.
Seriously?
I had never seen any of the
Did you like it?
It was fun, yeah. I mean, I knew the characters enough. I knew enough about their backstory to enjoy. I thought it was a fun movie. It was ridiculous.
Jason's not actually scared of water. I'm just letting you know. Yeah. Whoever came up with that was the dumbest fucker and had never seen any of the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
No. He's in the lake almost half of all the movies. I never understood that. That whole thing just blew my mind.
Isn't that a prerequisite? Like every movie has to end with him jumping out of the lake?
Yes, at some point. But he's terrified of water.
Right.
Whatever. Okay, moving on. Harrison Ford is going to play the general manager, Branch Rickey, in the upcoming Jackie Robinson biopic, which means I'm not getting my Indiana Jones till he's 72. I don't really... This isn't great news for me, but Brad, you're a big baseball fan. Are you looking forward to this at all?
I think it's a movie that's it's an interesting story. It's worth telling, but I don't know. Harrison Ford's so old and decrepit at this point. I think Sean Connery looks in better shape than him at this point, so I don't know.
Didn't we already get this movie in Moneyball this summer?
No.
No, it's,
Jackie
I mean,
Robinson.
No.
there's a lot. I'd like to see them.
Must-
If they do attach or do the movie, I'd like to see them actually do the Jackie Robinson story where he came out and like he wasn't like a star. It wasn't like, oh, this changes everything. Black people are okay. Instead, like, he went out there and like he was spat upon and wasn't considered shit, but he played and it slowly opened the doors for change in the future. So it just depends what route they go. If they go, it's like a super feel good movie, then it's going to probably be total bullshit.
Where suddenly, like, they put him to the front of the bus.
So, it's...
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think that's the story that never really gets told. They always just assume that he becomes famous, and then life is easier for him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. He had a really hard life, actually.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the story, and I'm kind of, Harrison Ford's crotchety enough. He could pull this off, I guess.
I'm more excited to see that Harrison Ford is being considered for the role in Ender's Game in 2013
Yeah, he is being considered for that.
for Colonel Graff, which is my favorite book. I'm very
Really?
excited.
Did you read that? Did you read it, or was it an
I read
audiobook?
I read it like 4 or 5 times, so
Okay.
I love that book.
Well,
And they got the kid from.
yeah, we talked about
Cuba.
that last week.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast, Scott.
Sorry, I didn't finish last week yet.
Real quick, do you guys think that Harrison Ford is a big enough draw just to say that, hey, go see this movie because Harrison Ford is in it?
Not anymore.
Maybe in 1985 or something.
Yeah. If he got a DeLorean, maybe. No,
I mean,
he's not relevant anymore.
That's kind of what I think. I just didn't know if I was the only one that was thinking that or not.
I worshipped him for most of my life, and I can tell you I don't care what he does right now.
Well, yeah, look at that. Wasn't it like a made-for-TV movie with Brendan Fraser where he was a doctor?
That wasn't made for TV.
Well, okay.
It was like made for cable or something. It was like an HBO movie.
Yeah.
No, it actually came out in the theater.
Yeah, it was made for the bargain bin.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm saying nobody saw that movie.
I saw it. I'm sorry, I did. I saw it in the theater. That's how I know that it wasn't.
I think it's a story that's going to sell this movie regardless, because I think they did cast the Jackie Robinson. I think he's kind of an unknown actor, so I think they're betting on the story more than anything for
That's
this
good
movie.
news. I really want to see it. David Fincher protege Noble Jones. I don't really know much about him. He's been like kind of cutting his teeth for the last couple of years, but he's trying to remake American Psycho. A, I think it's way too early, but B, it's American Psycho. I don't know what the fuck do you want to do with it?
I was kind of confused with the little piece in the article saying something. It was he was going to be taking into account the societal changes that have dated the 2000 Christian Bale film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like culture changes and what's new in the
Well,
culture.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how what the actual book when it takes place, but
The 80s.
the first movie
very
took place
80s,
in the 80s, so I don't know what societal changes have happened between 2000 and 2010 or 11.
Well, we have cell phones now with computers on them.
That's what I was thinking, technology. But
Yeah.
Is he going to put it in present day? Is that what?
That's kind of like what I got from it. I don't know, because the book is very 80s, very, the Wall Street guy. I don't know. I read some of the book and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't really get through much of it.
He's a really hard author to read.
Yeah, that book's like, it's not very linear. It's kind of like almost like a diary of this guy, and he's very self-indulgent. The majority of the book is him just talking about clothes he's wearing and stuff like that. And when he gets into like the killing and stuff, it's usually way over the top and way more crazy than it is in the movie. And I actually didn't really like the book. I read it a little bit before the movie came out, and I saw the movie and actually liked the movie because it wasn't that. It went a different route. But for what I got from the book and everything, it was very 80s. It was very that kind of time. So I don't, if they make it now and put it in modern times, it's just another generic slasher film that I could really care about.
Yeah. That's pretty much what my take on it was.
I saw that back then, and it was forgettable to me.
It's a good movie. I still can't understand the ending to save my life.
Yeah.
Me
It's,
either.
and it's not a movie I feel the need to revisit. It's one of the movies you can watch once and be done with it.
But the Huey Lewis scene is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And that ain't going to be in the new one. It's going to be, killing him to like some NSYNC or I don't even know.
Oh, that would be bye bye bye.
Yeah, some shit.
What did you understand the ending? What the fuck happened? I don't understand.
I think
Did
it was
happen?
I think it was left like kind of like open where this could be all a dream or not. I don't know. I didn't think that much.
I hate
care that
endings like
much.
that. Just tell me if it's a dream.
Yeah.
I don't have time to think.
It is what it is.
I'm busy. And the 80s were busy. You'd think they'd remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Angelina Jolie is going to star in the new Luc Besson sci-fi thriller that's not titled and the plot hasn't been released. But it's supposed to be a throwback to like Fifth Element and stuff like that he used to do.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just like seeing her in thrillers as opposed to anything serious.
Yeah, she hasn't had much luck with like dramas, so
No. Just she had one, like Girl Interrupted, that's like it.
yeah.
Well, there was the one she had where her kid was murdered, and she was trying to solve the murder. That wasn't a bad movie.
Changeling.
The Changeling,
Yeah,
yeah.
Changeling, you were about one of about 5 people that saw that, I believe.
Yes. And the only good thing about that is the dude from Burn Notice was in it. That's all I could think. And Clint Eastwood directed it.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Luc Besson. I like his early movies, but
Same here.
I mean, same time, they're just good generic action movies. You could stick pretty much anybody in them. You're gonna have entertaining time. So
Like Jason Statham.
It's almost like I
Statham.
almost put his movies into the category of guilty pleasure. Like,
Yeah.
they're not like great movies, but they're fun.
Yeah. Like if it's names on something, you know what you're gonna get, and you usually aren't disappointed.
I would put The Professional as a great movie.
Yeah, I mean he
that's-
definitely has his moments too. Where, I mean, there's plenty of stuff he's done that's great, but if you look at the whole body of work, maybe there's these great movies, and there's a lot of movies that are just like those movies, but aren't quite. I don't know. I can't really think of a movie of his that I completely hated. So.
Isn't he the guy that puts in Mila Jovovich in all of his movies?
No, I think he just did for Fifth Element. I think,
Paul W.S. Anderson
yeah,
does that.
her
okay.
her husband's pretty much the only reason she's working still.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He can handle her batshit crazy ass.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, well, that's it for movie news, really, for tidbits. Now we're going to look at some of the trailers that are out. Every week we have any new trailers that have caught our eye, and you can always see them at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. It's the tab trailers current episode. First one we saw, G.I. Joe, Retaliation. Who loved it? Anybody?
I did. I don't know. I didn't see the original because the trailer looked fucking.
Because it had one of those weighing fuckers in it.
Yeah, the trailer looked like the opposite of this one. It looked like a lame wannabe action movie. This one looked like a fucking action movie. It looked like an action movie from when I was a kid, when action stars were big motherfuckers that looked like they could tear shit up. Now it's like they're trying to pass off the Twilight kids as being action heroes and whoever. And it's like, yeah, I just can't get with that. But
Taylor Lautner is ripped.
yeah, whatever.
19.
But like you get some dudes like The Rock and Bruce Willis and even Channing Tatum, who's retard, but whatever. I could see him as being that generic soldier type. It just looks like an actual action movie that I'd be interested in for once.
The reveal in the trailer of Bruce Willis was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
That might have sealed the deal because I hated the first movie. I saw it just because I'm like, oh, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, this is where, Brad, I think you're going to benefit most because you didn't suffer through the first one.
Yeah. It was bad.
It was bad. It was Stephen Summers. So.
You know what my favorite part of this trailer was? Is that remake of the White Stripes song, like that techno version that was played throughout the trailer. I thought that was awesome. And I may be alone in that, but
I didn't even pay attention.
oh man. It's,
My favorite part is when the truck rolled around and Bruce Willis comes out and just starts shooting.
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, there's too much other shit going on. Too much explosions and
Yeah.
big ass guns. I was sold.
And The Rock looking pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacked on HGH or
And
something.
if you follow him on Twitter, I mean, he's ready to kick some ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost embarrassed to say that I'm actually looking forward to see a G.I. Joe movie. But
I'm not embarrassed. I'm
I'm
proud.
not. Bring that shit on,
man,
man.
it looked.
This is what the first one should have looked like.
Yeah, the scene when they were on the cliff, swinging
Yeah.
around and like fighting like four on four or whatever. That looked really cool.
It looked like a bunch of badass action sequences, and
Yeah.
that's really all you need in G.I. Joe. you
Yeah,
know?
that's what the first one should have been instead of all the special effects.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the second one, this is a little more low key. It's what to expect when you're expecting. It's basically about a bunch of. It's kind of like New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day, but with parents.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of fathers and mothers that are expecting kids and all the different. There's the off age. It's like Modern Family with expecting parents. It's like off age family, the multiracial family. Hilarity ensues. You know, I guess it looks cute.
It's like Grown Ups with Babies.
Yeah, it's got Chris Rock in it.
To be honest,
Yeah, it is. It's Grown Ups with Babies. Yeah. Brian, did you like this?
I was kind of surprised by it. It does look cute. They really didn't show Chris Rock too much, so I'm kind of wondering how much, he's really kind of involved with it. But it looked cute. It there was some pretty good humor in it. So I'm sure I'll go see it. I'm sure the wife will want to go see that one, so I'll suffer through that.
I think it'll work as a good date movie because you get both perspectives. You get the guys, with their buds and sharing man stories about being a father and that kind of thing. But
Right.
it doesn't do a whole lot for me personally. I'll probably wind up watching on DVD, but
I've been a dad. I don't remember sharing a bunch of man stories about
that's
being
why
a dad. Here's what the man stories go. I wish I could date more. Stupid kids. All right. Well, that looks like a cute little date movie, or if you're looking for something a little safer, there you go. It definitely does not look like Men in Black 3, which they finally had the teaser trailer out. I'll let you guys talk about it before I say anything. So, Brad, what did you think?
It looked interesting. I don't know. I like who's playing Tommy Lee Jones?
Josh Brolin?
Josh Brolin.
I like Josh Brolin, and pretty much anything he's in, I'll at least check it out. And I like the first Men in Black. The second one I thought was all right, but at the same time, this isn't anything like I needed to see. I haven't been waiting for the third one, but it looks all right. I mean, it's what I'd expect the Men in Black 3 to look like, I guess. I don't know.
Would you rush out to see it on Memorial Day when it opens?
No, I'm not that invested in the other ones to really rush out and see it. If I saw another trailer or something more, maybe, but I'd definitely rent it or something.
I hate to say it, but they are fun movies.
Yeah, definitely.
And for that reason, I'll probably go see it sometime that opening weekend. The special effects stuff, the crazy aliens, some of the, they're going to throw in the pop culture references to some of these aliens and stuff. So it's, I think, Josh Brolin's probably the best choice out there to play a younger Tommy Lee Jones, which apparently was some pretty good special effects just in itself, just de-wrinkling Tommy Lee Jones in those couple of scenes that it shows him. So
Yeah, he did look a lot younger.
yeah.
I laughed out loud when I saw that. When I realized what was going on, that was so funny. I'm probably apparently the most excited one about this, more or less because there's very few movies that me and my wife both get excited for to go see on an opening weekend, and this is one that I can go with her and we'll both really enjoy. So I'm stoked.
I kind of was bored. That's where, as much as I was looking forward to it, but Men in Black 2 is so disappointing to me, and it's been so long. The only thing I liked about it was the Josh Brolin reveal.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like the bar is so low. I mean, it doesn't really have to do much. I think it'd be interesting too to see with how special effects are now. Because how long has it been since they made the second
It's
one?
probably been 10 years.
About 10 years, yeah. So I mean, it'll be cool. I'm sure there'll be some cool looking aliens and stuff like that in it too.
My wife mentioned, because I showed her the trailer last night because I thought she'd be excited about it. She said that the trailer felt more serious than. I mean, there was a couple jokes here and there, but it felt like they were taking a more serious route with it.
It looked to me like Will Smith was trying really hard to be old Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like trying to be his old, funny, clever self, and not like he's matured at all.
Like Fresh Prince old? Or?
No, like Men in Black 1 old.
Yeah. Didn't see any of his kids in it, which was nice.
Yeah, well, he's time traveling, so I'm sure they'll pop up.
Yeah.
Especially if he goes to the
Oh
future.
yeah, they'll definitely make an appearance. I guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one aspect
Prince
that
now.
really took me out of it. Time travel in almost any movie takes me out of it. Because it's very rarely is it done in a believable or interesting way. The only thing I liked about it is he jumps off a roof, and that's how he time travels. And I'm just hoping maybe he'll miss. Or maybe one of his kids will be in the movie, and that's how they take care of one of them. Throw him off the building. Come on, Jaden, trust me.
Yeah.
Just
Follow
kidding.
your
I don't
pursuit
want
of
anything
happiness.
to hurt to that boy. Because I don't want to get sued. All right, well, that's it for movie news. So you want to check out any of those trailers, make sure to go to thehollywoodoutsiders.com, trailers, current episode, and you can always check out what ones we're talking about. They go up new every week, so if you're listening to this a week late, it'll be whatever the next episode's trailers are. We're going to move on to the big screen. That's where we normally review any new releases, which this week we haven't really seen anything because nothing's really been out. But next week we'll be back with reviews of at least Sherlock Holmes and possibly Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, if we can get to the show and before the podcast. Real quick box office recap. I'm not going to dwell on it because apparently it bores everybody but me. But it was the absolute worst weekend of the year at the box office last week. New Year's Eve opened with $13 million, which makes it a total flop. The Sitter, which I thought was actually going to be a big hit, didn't even make $10 million for the weekend. On a budget of $25 million, it's probably going to barely break even if it even comes close. But it looks funny, so... I mean, that was one I actually was hoping to see this weekend. Didn't get to.
Cable.
Yep. And Twilight Breaking Dawn still hanging in there, $7.8 million. So it's at $259 million. they'll probably make the part 2. So
You think?
yeah, they'll
We're going to do the whole series except for the second half of the last book,
There's no more money in
just to
this.
fuck with you.
what's that? Yeah,
There's no more money. We're done.
this turnip is dry.
Yeah.
Let's just let it go.
I would laugh my balls off if they did that. I would just,
That'd be awesome. There's to be so many soccer moms pissed off.
I know. Like the sequels in like 20 years after like all the
Fucking, it'd be a bunch of like 50-year-old women like occupying the movie studios.
Occupy Hollywood.
Yeah.
All right. Well, quick mention. Last week's episode was episode 19 where we talked about Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows, and Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 coming out. Right now, we're going to talk about what's coming out Christmas. These are the Christmas releases, really. They come out December 21st and on Christmas Day. And what we do is we discuss what the movies are, and then we'll decide what our pick of the week is. This week, there are 5 movies coming out in wide release. 3 are coming out on the 21st. The first one of which is Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. The IMF, the Impossible Mission Force, shut down after being implicated in a terrorist bombing. The team have to initiate Ghost Protocol, which apparently means they go covert and like they cannot get assistance from anyone, apparently, in order to clear the names. Tom Cruise is back. Jeremy Renner's in it. Paula Patton's in it. Simon Pegg returns from the third one. Vince Rames supposedly shows up. I haven't seen him in a single trailer.
Yeah.
But
Ving
he's
Rhames?
supposed Ving Rames? Yeah.
Oh, I just said Vince Rames. My bad.
No, that's Vince Vaughn.
Him too.
Yeah, him too. All the Rames boys are in this.
I'm just surprised Jeremy Renner's in it because I haven't seen him in anything in a long time.
I kind of want to. The trailers look really good. I really want to see it.
I think it looks good.
But
It's getting good reviews.
I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan. He takes me out of pretty much any movie.
his hair.
I don't
He's got
care.
awesome hair.
I don't
Is
know.
there another actor that runs any better than Tom Cruise?
That runs any better?
Probably a woman. I don't know.
He runs better than anybody.
Yeah.
Well, then that's worth my $10.
Yeah.
Seeing him
I
jog.
mean, that whole like sequence on the side of the building, I'm sure it's awesome, but there's not much selling me on this.
I think David Hasselhoff.
I will
runs
say
well.
I watched one of the behind the scenes deals on I believe it was the last one he did, and he does all of his own stunts.
Yeah. He's fucking crazy.
He was on the side of that building.
Yeah.
He's
it wouldn't
stupid.
surprise me
He
if
has,
he
he has
was.
Xenu on his side, or whoever the fuck the Scientology god is.
The Scientology
But I know
god.
I think it was the last one where he was rock. The scene that opens up, he's rock climbing, and the helicopter comes down or whatever and
What's the
gets
second
him.
one?
He definitely dedicates himself to roles. That's for sure.
Yeah, but he was actually doing that.
Yeah. No. He's,
And
That
he's
was
like-
no CGI. That was no, hey, there's a big net down here. That was him really jumping from rock to rock and that kind of stuff. And to me, that was very impressive.
it's definitely impressive.
That doesn't make Brad change his opinion.
It's more of an actor thing. Like, if the movie's 2 hours of him doing awesome stunts and shit, I'm with it, whatever. It's just, I haven't really cared about the Mission Impossible movies. I like the first one because I'm a big De Palma fan. So outside of that, I didn't really have any interest in the series. Started watching the third one, never finished it. So.
I do want to. I'm kind of curious because Brad Bird, who did The Incredibles,
Yeah.
big animation director, he directed this, and I'm kind of curious to see what he does with this film because
Yeah.
this is live action. It's a big difference. So we'll see. Well,
I'm with Brad. I really liked the first one a lot, maybe because it was a fresh idea, and I thought it was well written. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Second one I didn't like at all. I liked the third one better than the second one, but I also finished it.
Yeah.
But also because Phil Hoffman, I loved him as a villain.
Yeah.
I thought he was cool, but I'm excited to see it just more for like an action flick and with some characters that I recognize from the original, which is my favorite of the 3, not 4. So
Yeah, I like how they're not calling it Mission Impossible 4 though.
Yeah.
It's just a whole new movie.
I think Hollywood's given up on numbers. It's too easy for people.
unless they put numbers in the middle of words, then
Yeah.
it's apparently okay.
That's a game changer right there.
That is. Okay, the next one is the one I'm pretty pumped for. It's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's the reinterpretation of the film of the book series, written by is it Stieg or Stieg Larsson? I don't know how you say it.
No
I never
idea.
get names right. So if you've ever listened to this podcast, you should know that. If it's your first time, just so you know, I never get names right.
Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas. But this is this one's starring Daniel Craig as Mikhail and Rooney Mara as Lisbeth, who is actually the girl with the dragon tattoo. But they're on a search for the killer of Christopher Plummer's niece from 40 years ago. The film is very dark, violent, ugly, and supposedly doesn't shy away from the graphic nature of the book. if you ever read the book, which I have, and I actually bought this book from my mom, which I regretted because I didn't read it until after I bought it for her.
Did she read it?
She loved it.
Yeah,
she
loved
read the
it.
whole series.
She read the whole series, but it has a lot of anal rape in it, and I mean, it's,
Oh, now I'm seeing it.
yeah, it's pretty graphic, and
Oh,
it's-
you'll love this, Mom.
yeah. And I got it because I heard it was a popular book. I had no idea what it was. And I'm like, oh, yeah, look, I'll give my mom a book.
It was like the original title, like Men Who Hate Women or something like
Yes.
that.
It's that's the downside of having a son who doesn't read by you a book. He just reads the cover. Looks good. You'll like it. I promise. But it's you should have bought her that book. You would have got her a different one.
Yeah.
But it's really good. The book is intense. The Swedish movies, if you've seen them, were actually pretty good. They're not great.
I
But
didn't see him. I'm waiting for this one, then I'm going to maybe watch that trilogy.
are you a Fincher fan?
Yeah, like very much anything he's in. Like I remember when they announced the Social Network, I heard they're making a Facebook movie, and I was like, that's fucking retarded. But then they're like, David Fincher's directing, Aaron Sorkin's writing, and I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know,
And it was one of
But,
the best movies last year.
Yeah, David Fincher pretty much. I wasn't really into Panic Room, but I didn't hate it. So like besides that, everything he's done, I've loved. Even Zodiac, I thought was interesting enough for what it was. He's also made some of my favorite stuff, so
Brian, you going to see it?
I'm in.
Yeah, I'll go see it. I don't know anything about it, so I'm kind of going into it fresh, so to speak. So
Yeah, I don't know anything really much about it either, so I'm
I'm the same.
excited for that.
I'm the same with these two. I'm actually kind of trying to avoid the story a little bit. There was the one trailer for this movie that had very little audio in it, and they did flashes of scenes, and I thought that trailer really made me want to go see this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the Mike Card thing and trying just to avoid as much story and media on this, just because I want to go into it fresh.
The really funny part about that trailer was, and if people haven't seen it, it's basically just the music and it's constant flashes of different scenes. But if you read the book, that's very relevant. Like you know what those scenes are.
Yeah.
So the cool part is, if you're a fan of the series, you know exactly what's going on. If you're not, it's a really cool trailer.
Yeah.
That makes you want to see it.
Yeah, it makes you want to see it to find out what's going on.
Another thing about David Fincher too is I think he's the kind of director who would be more going back to the actual books instead of trying to copy the other movie. So
Yeah.
that's why I think that's why I'm going to see this movie, and then if I like it, which I'm sure I will. I'll probably watch the original trilogy. But
See how it compares.
yeah, I was originally going to watch the trilogy a while back, but then they announced this movie, and I was like, I'll just hold out.
Well, he does swear that it's going to adhere to the book and the graphic nature. So if you're planning on taking your kids, because it's going to be like,
I don't have any kids, so it's all
yeah,
good.
exactly, a
Me
happy
neither,
film.
at least
I'm
that I know
smart.
of.
Yeah. That looks intense. Okay, the next one is Adventures of Tintin, which has already been released worldwide, everywhere but here, because Tintin is huge overseas for some reason. I didn't know that. Steven Spielberg's directing this one. It's the first of 2 movies he's directing that are released at Christmas time. Tintin is an adventurous reporter pursuing a story that forces him into a world of high adventure. And Daniel Craig, taking a break from anal rape, voices the nefarious Red Rockham.
I think you just got your title of your podcast. Taking a break from anal rape.
It's a CGI film. It looks beautiful, and it was a huge hit overseas. If you got a family, it seems like a good choice.
I can't believe how gorgeous the animation looks in this trailer.
Yeah, it
even
looks
in a
really
theater, even in a theater where it's not great quality, it looks incredible. The amount of detail in each of the faces and just the settings and everything, it just looks gorgeous. I want to see it just for that fact alone.
It looks sweet. It'll be like probably 3rd or 4th on my list, but I still want to see it.
Yeah.
There's too many movies coming out.
I'm not a huge fan of the motion capture looking animation. Usually, it's usually creepy as shit.
Yeah,
But
every Zemeckis movie.
Yeah, but this one looks a little better in that kind of style, and it's Spielberg and Peter Jackson. So I'm curious, and
Now Peter Jackson just produced it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's rumors that if they do another one, he might direct it. Who knows?
This is a very popular series?
Yeah,
books?
this is old. It's been around for a long time. I'm not that familiar with it, but
I think everybody thought it was about a dog. I thought it was Rin Tin Tin.
Rin Tin Tin.
yeah. Isn't that the one about the cop who dies and comes back as a cop?
Yes.
Or cop comes back as a dog, I mean.
That's Heavenly Dog. Oh, wait.
No, there used to be a TV show. Wow, we're going to go off track here. There used to be a TV show about like a cop who died and came back as like the family dog or something, but had a title sort of like that.
I remember that. I remember what he's talking about. I don't remember the name of it. Find that out, viewer. Find that out.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, this doesn't look like usually my kind of thing, but it looks interesting. I'll probably rent it, though. I'm not going to go to the theater to see it.
$10. Okay, well, that's what's coming out the 21st. Coming out December 25th is War Horse. That's Steven Spielberg's other Christmas movie. It's a flick about a friendship between a young man named Albert and his horse named Joey. And when they are forcibly parted, the film follows the horse through his adventures within World War I. Until, of course, I'm sure they reunite or something years down the road. It's a fucking horse movie. I
couldn't be any less interested in this movie.
I haven't really seen shit for it, so...
It looks like a horse that gets drafted.
I hate horses.
Oh,
I'm indifferent to horses, I should say.
It's a... Brian, you said you wanted to see this when we talked about the trailer.
Not necessarily wanted to see it, but it just looks like one that I just see me crying in the theater, so I don't want to go see it.
Seriously?
Yeah, it looks like a good movie, but somebody's going to die in this movie. The horse is going to die, or the kid that's chasing the horse is going to die. So one of those two will die, I guarantee you. That's just how these movies are.
Well, now I want to see it.
And, I'm just not in the mood to go cry in the theater, so I'll wait till it comes out on video and I can cry on my couch.
You'd rather cry at home, alone?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, the final wide release coming out December 25th is The Darkest Hour. This is the counter programming to everything else that's out. It's in 3D, and it's about 5 people find themselves stranded in Moscow. I don't know how the fuck they decided on Moscow. But they're trying to survive an alien attack by forces they can't see. If you've seen the trailer, it actually looks kind of cool, but it looks like the aliens are electricity.
Looks like Langoliers.
Yeah, with a bigger budget.
God, I don't know. It just looks shitty. Like, I saw a preview, like a longer one, where they actually had, like, the characters talking, and it's just... I don't know. This
Is
looks
there any known actors in this movie?
Emil Hirsch.
meh.
Spy, what you call it? What's that?
He was into the Wild. I don't know what else. Or Speed Racer.
Speed Racer, sorry,
yeah.
Speed Racer. I don't know why I was thinking Spy Hunter, but Speed Racer.
I think it looks like a fun movie, but it looks like a not done well fun movie. Like
looks like a Sci-Fi Channel movie.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
I don't know. It's made by that Russian director I like, that Timur Bekmambetov.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So that to me will I'll go see it just for that.
Yeah, that changed my opinion right there.
Now it doesn't look like shit anymore.
Well, it might not be shit. I probably won't go and see it right
Now
away.
it's a Facebook
but
movie all of a sudden.
yeah, it doesn't look like a complete shit. It might actually have something to it. I didn't know he was behind it because I like his Daylight Night fucking Night Watch.
Yeah, the Day Watch,
the Day Watch,
movies.
Night Watch. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
I like that you
Yay!
guys.
Finally, somebody else who's seen them.
yeah.
I'm telling you because it's obscure, and Brad knows obscure. I'm telling you, if you saw his fucking library, you'd be impressed with the obscurity.
Impressed, but
Unless you're
Well,
Japanese,
yeah,
then you'd be like, well, that's like being at home.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that the thing I'd probably be going is, I got that one, that one.
That's probably true. Okay, well, those are the 5 releases. So, recapping. Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, Adventures of Tintin, not Rin Tin, War Horse, which is guaranteed to kill at least one of the primary actors, the horse or the kid, according to Brian, and The Darkest Hour. What would be your pick of the week, Scott?
Not War Horse. No,
You got to pick one of the other
Girl
ones.
with Dragon Tattoo. Just for the intrigue more than anything else.
Okay, Brad?
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
All right. Brian?
On the 21st, I'll go see Mission Impossible, and then on the 25th, The Darkest Hour.
What the fuck? You can't do that.
Hey, they're 2 different days.
Hey, yeah.
I just did it. Boom.
Double feature.
All right.
I'm off on Friday. Maybe I'll go see all 3.
Nice. Well, I'm going to go see Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. That's it. Because I can pick one. All right. Well, that is our movie section. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about TV and DVD and our topic of the week, which is going to be a little bit about Lord of the Rings, hitting its anniversary and how have films changed since that happened. But before we do that, it is time for
Stump the Hoe.
Stump the Hoe is our little game show that we do where each week one of our podcasters asks the rest of our podcasters a trivia question. They don't know what it is ahead of time. They just have to guess what the answer is, and the object is for the one asking the question to stump the rest of us. So with that, it's Scott Clark's turn. What is your trivia question?
All right. In lieu of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, the original Mission Impossible film was scored by Danny Elfman. However, Alan Silvestri was originally slated for the project. In fact, he wrote about 23 minutes of music before being removed from the project. The music that he wrote was actually eventually used to score another movie. What was that movie? Was it either The Long Kiss Goodnight, Twister, Eraser, or The Rock?
Brad, do the guess. What's your guess?
Wow.
I know he's a Mission Impossible fan, so I thought he might actually know.
No. Take a guess here. What are the choices again?
The Long Kiss Goodnight, Twister, Eraser, or The Rock?
I'm going to go... Take a shot in the dark. I'm going to go Long Kiss Goodnight, I guess.
Okay. Brian?
Gosh, let's see. I'll switch it up. I'll go with The Rock.
All right. Aaron?
I'm actually torn between Long Kiss Goodnight and The Rock. I know it's not Twister.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? I'm going to go with The Rock because it seems like that kind of score would fit better for that kind of film. But we'll see. None of us actually know. But we'll see if he stumped us hoes in a minute. Right now, you're going to hear the trailer for Men in Black, so we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Who are we? We are no one.
Our mission is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth.
Flaco, you know you're not supposed to be north of Canal Street.
Who is Flaco? Just relax, punk. They're looking for me, not you.
Crazy, right? Two grown men talking to the wall, wall talking back. It's a mess. But hey, don't even worry about it. Incident report.
Access denied.
There are things out there you don't need to know.
That's not the lie you told me when you recruited me.
I promise you the secrets of the universe, nothing more.
Well, what other secrets are there?
Kay! I'm looking for Kay. Have you seen him? Sort of a surly older gentleman. He smiles like this.
Kay has been dead for over 40 years.
Here, take this. Now all you have to do is jump.
You want me to jump?
Time jump.
Kay? How do you know my name?
And that was the trailer for Men in Black 3. If you wanted to see it, because it probably looks better in color, go to thehollywoodoutsiders.com and click on Trailer's Current Episode. We're back with Stump the Host. Scott Clark, can you please repeat your question, sir?
Certainly. The original Mission Impossible film was scored by Danny Elfman. However, Alan Silvestri was originally slated for the project. In fact, he wrote about 23 minutes of music before being removed from the project. And those 23 minutes of music were eventually used to score what other film? Was it The Long Kiss Goodnight, Twister, Eraser, or The Rock? Brad chose The Long Kiss Goodnight. You chose The Rock, right?
Brian and I both chose The Rock.
Both chose The Rock.
What was the answer?
The answer was Eraser.
Get the fuck out of here.
No,
Really?
serious?
The Schwarzenegger movie?
Yeah.
They had a score in that?
That's why I thought it was kind of odd and interesting.
I thought it was just like an alligator and luggage, bitch. That's all I remember from that. Your luggage.
Your luggage. I
Yeah,
forgot
when he
about
shot
that
the
scene,
alligator.
Yeah. But
Okay.
thought it was interesting.
That is
wrote
interesting.
23 minutes of music for a movie and got fired, and then just went ahead and instead of starting from scratch, just use that for another movie.
Well, as I can remember the Mission Impossible score, I think they made the right call.
Yeah.
I can't remember the Eraser score.
Well, there you go.
I'm still not convinced.
Well, you got to remember, Danny Elfman did not write the original Mission Impossible theme from the original TV show.
I remember the
but-
score. I know the difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely remember the score.
I'll send for the
It was a
listeners'
very good score. Or score. It's not store. A store is like Best Buy or Target.
No, I said good store, not Best Buy.
Okay. Okay, well, that's Stump the Hoe. And remember, if you ever want to send us a Stump the Hoe question, you can do so at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. That's feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Send us an email, send what the question and what the answer is, and I will ask the podcasters to not tell them ahead of time. So we'll see if you can stump them. Feel free to do so. Don't make it a crazy-ass question about who the third actor in the 4th episode of Star Trek was, though, because I don't want to hear those. Okay. Moving on to the Idiot Box, this is where we talk about TV news and what we've been watching on TV. Real quick, I don't want to go into too much detail because some people haven't seen the series yet, including myself, my brother, and Scott. Basically, everybody but Brian has not seen Game of Thrones. But the Season 2 teaser is out. So if you want to see that, go to Entertainment Weekly or EW.com, and it's there. And it look from all people I know that have seen it, they said that it looks really good. But I don't know what the hell they're talking about, so I wouldn't know. It looks just as good as the first season.
I mean, it's just that. It's a teaser. It's just little flashes of characters. Again, if you haven't seen the first one, it doesn't ruin anything. But the other side of that is you won't get any of it anyway. So, well.
Okay, there you go. Uma Thurman is joining Steven Spielberg's new musical drama. I didn't even know he was making a musical drama. But it's going to be called Smash, and it's going to debut after the Super Bowl. This is what we're going to watch after a bunch of men are sweating and.
No, it's the Monday after the Super Bowl. It's not directly.
Was it the Monday after the Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, okay, look at you. All right, well that's different. Well, then
He's already got his DVR set to record.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Yes. Let me tell you what I caught this guy doing. He was listening to Twilight books on tape when he got over here. Mm-hmm. Just saying. Okay, so it debuts after the Monday after the Super Bowl. Whatever. I think that's interesting that there's a musical drama coming out. I had no idea. Did either one of you guys know about this?
No clue. This is news to me.
I've seen a commercial for it, but
how's it look?
It looks like a chick show. I mean,
what is that? Brad, did you know about it? You work for a TV station. Have you heard of this?
I didn't know shit about it. It doesn't sound like anything I'd be into.
Does it seem like a musical, Brian, when you watch the commercial?
Yeah, think Chicago.
The TV show?
But, not that era, but current times. Broadway, musicals, that kind of stuff.
And I'm in the minority of people that like musicals, so that sounds interesting to me, especially if Spielberg's involved. Justin's not here to
he's well known for musicals.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'd be interested.
Aliens are going to show up and start dancing. Maybe a horse. That's where that fucking horse goes. All right. Well, if you want to see Uma shaking her bum bum, then there you go. Okay, next piece of news. Netflix is nearing. They're looking at ordering 13 episodes of a Eli Roth series called Hemlock Grove. Eli Roth is the director of Hostel and Cabin Fever and other torture porn. It's supposed to go with the existing Kevin Spacey drama, which is called House of Cards, and the Arrested Development reunion. They're really talking about. I mean, Netflix is really trying to get in the TV business.
Yeah.
Hey, they got to, try to draw those 2 million people that's left back,
Well, they've got like 24 million subscribers. I mean, it's not like they're hurting for subscribers. They just lost 1 million after they fucked everything up over the summer. They'll get them back.
Yeah. I'm just curious about how all this is going to, if it's going to alienate other shows from getting on the streaming, whatever.
What do you mean?
Well, if they're doing this, I mean, obviously, I'm assuming with like shows like Arrested Development and whatever, they're probably doing deals with other studios to like partnerships maybe. Because I mean, there's the Viacom rumor and everything like that, and I could just see them if they start trying to focus on their own shows, they might not be able to have their own various shows from the other studios for.
Oh, because of the competition clauses and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like there could be trouble there somewhere. I don't know.
I wonder if they're thinking that they're going to get a lot of those subscribers back by having these exclusive shows that you can only watch on Netflix, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, with doing that with like a new series, like you're talking this Hemlock Grove, or I guess House of Cards has Kevin Spacey in it, and Arrested Development is widely popular.
I think that's going to be their big one.
Yeah, that's going to be the big one. That's going to try to draw people in, but is that going to work? I don't know. To me, I mean, I like Netflix when I had it. I canceled just because I haven't had time to watch as many movies as I wanted to. And it's just more cost effective for me to go pick up a movie at Redbox on occasion as opposed to paying the $8 and waiting for it to come in the mail. If I want a movie, I can find it on my phone and get it. I think they're going to have to come up with something similar to that to stay relevant for a long period of time.
It's going to take more than Eli Roth for me to shell out $10 a month for Netflix.
Yeah, that's a big deterrent for me.
Yeah, I'm not actually a Eli Roth fan. I don't think he's a very good director. I don't think he's very talented. I think he's gotten a lot of leeway because Quentin Tarantino likes him.
Yeah, I think it's just he's gotten where he is because of his friends now.
So if Netflix gets TV shows, like season 1 of whatever, Joe Schmo Goes to the Mall, like a year after, it's been released and aired and everything, well, regular, network TV, or cable get.
Well, I'm sure they work out a deal at some point. That's probably part of it. They'll have to.
Will they get to show this Eli Roth series a year later or something?
Probably. I don't know what they're looking to do. All I know is that the purpose, from what I've read about Netflix, is they wanted to create some more TV shows because that's honestly where they want their bed to lie, is in streaming television shows. I mean, they do want movies on there too, but they figure their primary source of support should be TV shows because that's where they've had the most success. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to create their own to supplement it and draw in viewers and say, hey, if you want to see this, you can only see it on Netflix Instant Stream.
Yeah, I actually give them credit for for creating more reason to to subscribe to them and everything. And I wish them all the best with it, but you got to give me more than Eli Roth.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I think Arrested Development's going to be their big one, just because that one has such a cult following. Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to see that. So I mean, that's where they're gonna get people, and then they're gonna hope that these other shows kind of catch on. But
I want to see the House of Cards ones. I'm a big Kevin Spacey fan, so if they can make a riveting drama with him on Netflix, I'll check it out.
I will say I like the idea of being able to watch TV shows or paying a premium to watch TV shows without commercials. I mean, I know you can download them and you can get the DVDs and stuff like that, but there's times where I've sat in my bedroom watching a TV show that I own on DVD in the basement that I could easily watch without commercials, but I just don't feel like getting out of bed and going and getting the DVD or swapping a DVD out or something like that. If I could pay a service to watch some of these shows without having to mess with discs, I'd be all about that. I hate paying for cable, and I can't flip a channel to something else without a commercial being on. It seems like it's so annoying to me. I don't know.
But here's the honest to God truth, and I'm sure Brad working with TV, you probably realize this too. But the more and more they go to streaming and everything else, there will be advertisers in that avenue at some point, and you'll be flooded with commercials at some point.
Yeah. On my iPad, they've got a ABC. The channel ABC has got an app where you can watch shows from their previous or from the current seasons and in the previous seasons and stuff up to a certain time frame. And just in the short time they've had it, it went from just being the show to being a 5, maybe 15-second advertisement at the beginning of it. Now there's like a 30-second advertisement at the beginning of each episode
of the same commercial.
Yeah, right. There's like a 30-second one. Then somewhere, at least once throughout the show, because I watch Modern Family on there occasionally. There'll be like a 1.5-minute break at least once, maybe twice during the show, and it's like, fuck this. That's the whole reason I'm watching it on here, so I can watch this damn thing in 20 minutes instead of watching it on TV.
But again, that's kind of my point. That's still a free service that you're talking about. That app you have on your phone or your iPad or whatever. I'm talking about like paying a higher cable bill. I would pay more money for cable to have that luxury. I mean,
to not have to sit through commercials.
Yeah.
Because I agree with that actually.
Well, it's called a DVR. Get it and fast forward through it.
Yeah. They're not going to ever bypass commercials because that's where the real
money is. It's too much money, man.
Them shits are staying.
Because now you work for television. That's where pretty much all of the source of income comes from. Is like
my boss. Without going into too much specifics, but basically my boss covers us who actually work on the day-to-day shows, and then the people who work on the commercials. And I see my boss maybe once a week, every other time he's dealing with the commercial people, because that's where the money is,
Yeah.
And there's a whole department. There's like half the building's our studio. The other half the building is all these people trying to sell more commercials and more time and stuff. So
Because that's where the money is.
that's the business.
So, I mean, it is an inconvenience, and especially in today's day and age where everybody wants everything faster, quicker now.
Everyone's ADD.
Can I ask you a question, Brad?
Yes.
How much are these local companies paying for this?
You probably can't talk about that.
Never mind.
No,
I'm not asking for specifics. But there's, I better just not even go there.
They
Ask him off the air.
Basically just, they get flat deals, whatever, air this many times kind of thing. I don't know. That's not my department, so as long as my paycheck comes in, they can sell as many commercials as they want. So.
But what the point is that the more television is going to have that support. The only reason that Netflix can afford that is because it's a subscription-based service. It's basically HBO. It's just more. It's your selection HBO. It's on demand.
But HBO doesn't have commercials, at least in between during an episode,
because you're paying for it.
Right.
Yeah. But so if you want to pay for FX, you want to pay for all these different channels, then maybe you could do that. But do you really want to pay for just a couple television shows? I mean, that doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah. I don't want to pay for just the 2 or 3 shows I like. I'll pay Netflix if I can pay $10 a month and I can watch a bunch of shows that maybe they're a season behind or something. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And I can guarantee you if these shows on Netflix don't pick up an audience real quick, they'll just start putting in the ads that that you were paying not to see.
Yep.
They're going to be in there regardless.
And I'm kind of curious if this model does take off or if it doesn't take off. Either way. Yeah. If they're going to go to watch these shows, you got to pay like $1 more or $2 more or something along that. I could totally see them doing that as a business model
for brand new shows that they're.
They're going to say Netflix, come to Netflix where you can stream all these other shows, but if you want to watch premium new content, it's $2 a month or $1 a month or something. They'll make it small, but over 25 million subscribers, that'll add up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of money a month. Well, regardless, and there are talks right now that Verizon might purchase them. So apparently,
Verizon or Viacom.
I read Verizon.
Is it Verizon?
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, whoever it is, they're on the block to be bought.
Yeah,
and I think if they had a larger partner, they could probably get a lot more streaming content because part of the problem is their buying power. They don't have as much as Google and Amazon.
I think it's a double-edged sword too, because like I was saying before, if they get in business with a big company, they're just going to alienate all the other companies, all the other stations, and
it's true,
whatnot.
Well, Verizon is actually let's face it, they're doing something right. So,
yeah, I get a signal whenever I need to make a call, so I'm good with it.
Exactly.
But they do overcharge for everything, so that makes me nervous too. Netflix will suddenly be $47 a month.
Oh yeah,
it'll be my refund back. That's all I'm saying.
It'll just be like,
and that's just for the old content. If you want the new premium stuff,
exactly,
it's another $47.
Yep, it'll suddenly be just no different than cable. No different than cable. Last piece of TV news: Glee is a favorite show for Scott, and that's really about it. And also Chewbacca. Chewbacca he's a huge fan of. Well, they're going to combine the two. Chewbacca is going to show up on Glee. This is officially jumping the fucking shark, as far as I'm concerned. Chewbacca is going to be on Glee. I think it's this season.
Yeah, it's next week.
It's next week or something like that. So if you're a Glee fan, get ready. You're about to see that guy. I am not excited at all. I could care less. This is not going to drive traffic for me.
I haven't watched Glee since the first season, so I'm not even.
I haven't watched Glee since probably the first couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Would you tune back in to see Chewbacca dancing?
No, because I heard a rumor too that they were going to do some kind of nod to the Star Wars Christmas special. Which anybody who actually saw it, there's no reason to revisit it. It's not campy. It's not kitschy. There's no reason to revisit it.
It's just bad.
It's televised abortion. There's no reason to fucking go back. Every couple of years, it's just all these nerds are like, "Hey, Star Wars! Remember Star Wars? Star Wars is awesome. Let's watch the Christmas special." But no, Christmas special was god awful.
I don't even remember the Christmas special.
Exactly, you're lucky.
Yeah,
I didn't see it live. I've seen it in retrospect, but yeah, it's one of those things people kind of direct you to go see. And
I remember watching it as a kid.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian was with me. It wasn't a fun experience. It's one of those where you leave going, "Why do I like Star Wars again?"
Right.
I'd rather watch those shitty Ewok TV movies they had.
They did soften the blow for the prequels though.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, Justin's missing it.
Oh, he's on a cruise ship. He'll be okay. All right, well, that's it for TV news. We're going to go into a little section called Did You See That? Where we talk about any new TV shows or what's kind of current we're watching right now. Not a whole lot going on this week, but Brad's been watching some Dexter, which none of us have seen because we don't have access right now. But
yeah,
how's the new season?
It's all right. You can definitely tell if you watched the last season, because I think it was the last season that they got the new showrunners going.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could definitely, this season even more, you can feel there's more different people in charge. And probably this season more than any other season, there's been episodes where I've just been kind of like, I don't like this episode. Like throughout Dexter, like pretty much even if the season wasn't great, I could still enjoy the episodes, but there's definitely been episodes where I'm just could care less.
Really?
But overall, I mean, it's not bad. There's an interesting story going on, which, I won't get into, but it's interesting enough. It seems the new showrunners are trying to gear it more towards kind of like the horror side of it, and I liked it more when it was going towards more the criminal side or the kind of like mystery serial killer sort of thing.
You think they're amping up the violence?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're just like overall, like there seems to be more of like a horror feel, like without going into too much like the big evil or whatever of the season. It's a lot more like over the top that you'd see in like a horror movie kind of thing. Gotcha. I guess. But I mean, for the most part, it's been all right. I still like it. It's just after that fourth season, they set the bar way too high to ever try to beat it or get it.
Now, I just started the fifth season, which is the season prior to the one you're watching right now. And everybody I've talked to said that the quality in that season it's the weakest season so far.
The fifth season?
Yeah. Would you agree with that compared to what you're watching currently?
I'd say it'd almost be a tie. I didn't completely hate the fifth season. I thought it was, but I think I was expecting so after the fourth season was so good, I just expected failure at that point. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the fifth season was complete failure. It just wasn't quite as good. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I put it about the same, maybe a little better. There's some cool guest stars. You got this season, the sixth season, you got Colin Hanks, who is actually pretty decent in the show for what he's doing. Edward James Olmos,
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I can never fail with him. And then actor I like, Mos Def, who's a rapper.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah, he
is a good actor.
The thing I like about him is when he got into acting, instead of being, getting into all these crime movies like every other rapper who wants to be an actor, Mos Def actually went out to Broadway and actually got into plays and shit like that. And he actually has an acting background before that.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy too.
Yeah, but I'm a big fan of his music and everything, so it was cool seeing him in the series too and everything. So it's been all right. Season finales this week though.
So amped up.
Yeah, I want to see where it goes. I mean, there's part of me that kind of thinks they're telegraphing what's going to happen, so it's kind of like I want to see if what I think is going to happen is going to happen. If it does, it'll kind of piss me off, but it just depends.
So how many more seasons do you think the show can go on?
I think they should have worked on after the fourth season. They should have put in the end game. Kind of set up where start making plans to where they're going to finish, and but they signed on for 2 more seasons, and I think they're trying to. From what I've read, that's what they're going for. Is these next 2 seasons after this one it's airing are going to be like the last 2 probably.
But they're in 6, that'd be 8 seasons.
8 seasons.
It just seems like Showtime's dragging it out because it's their number one show.
Like if this is a show that I like the show a lot, but this is a kind of show where I would rather it be short, just 4 or 5 good seasons. That's it. It's done. I don't need to keep dragging it out. And I think by the time they do get to that last season, it's going to be kind of ready to go.
Quit while you're ahead kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to finish the 5th season. I'm just sorry I can't watch it currently.
Yeah.
But Brian, you've been watching some more Homeland. Is that getting any better?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal show. It's really one of the better ones on, that I've been watching on TV. I've been behind a little bit, so I've had to have a kind of a mini marathon the last couple of days. But it's really good. It's always twisting some way that not quite like 24. 24, there was always some episode where somebody's a double agent or, doing some sneaky stuff. But this is one that keeps you guessing and then it lets you figure it out, and then you're not sure. It plants another seed to where you're not sure if you've really got it figured out, and then it spins it in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
So
it's ramping up. I mean, it's becoming one of your favorite shows.
Yeah, it really is. It's not. There's, golly, I hate to say it, but there's really not been a bad episode.
Really?
Yeah, there's, yeah, I mean, really, I guess, yeah, I'm just sitting here trying to think of one, and I really can't, because there's always some sort of development that that just kind of brings you back the next week. So
that's really hard for a first season of any show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know as far as, how many seasons they can really sustain this. I mean, I would like to see them make one long season and then end it, or either possibly 2 seasons, but it's not really one that I don't think you can really sustain this series for any more than 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Without it just kind of being old hat at that point. But
at some point, you're like, all right, are you a fucking spy or not?
Right. Would you please? I don't even care anymore. Just pick one side or the other. So,
and you've also been watching some Game of Thrones. Again,
yeah, I've gone back and this is probably the 3rd time that I've watched the series. I watched it when it originally aired, and then they had over the course of about 3 or 4 days, they replayed them, so I recorded them and I kept them on my DVR, watched them, and it's probably been 2 or 3 months since I've watched them, and I've gotten back into them, and the show is phenomenal. It's so deep. There's so many characters. There's so many. I'm still picking up stuff that I missed, in the first 2 times that I watched it.
How many episodes are in that first season?
10.
Oh, and they're like hour long or 40 minutes?
Yeah,
no, they're hour long.
They're a solid hour.
Oh, solid hour.
So
I'll be checking that out. That's going to be coming on DVD soon, so I'll be checking those out.
Absolutely. There's a lot of shows that have been good this year, but this is one, like I said, this is the only one that I've recorded and I've watched more than once. And I will buy the DVDs, the Blu-ray when they come out. And I am there's nothing on TV that I'm waiting with more anticipation for than season 2.
Wow. All right. Well, let's move on away from television and go to the couch where we talk about DVD and Blu-ray, home video, basically. Before we get into what's coming out December 20th, Scott Clark finally finished Firefly. Finally. Thank God nobody spoiled the end for him. And you also, did you watch Serenity too?
Halfway through it, my wife fell asleep. So.
Okay, so you've watched Firefly. What did you think now that real quick, I don't want to spend too much time because it's, several years old.
Right. But thoroughly enjoyable. I love pretty much every character in that thing. And I didn't know that the series had been cut off halfway through. So I was all looking forward to the last episode, thinking it was going to have a season finale feel to it. And it didn't.
That's called Serenity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm watching Serenity now. But the jump in quality from the TV series to the movie is amazing. Obviously, they had a little bit higher budget with the movie.
Budget was a little better.
So the humor's still there.
But the verdict, do you understand why it became such a huge cult following?
Oh yeah, it's very unorthodox, and a lot of it goes the complete opposite of a lot of the tropes that a lot of series do, and the humor is great. I like it a lot, so I highly recommend it. Likable characters, diverse characters.
It's probably one of my top 5 series of all time. Of course, it only had 14 episodes, so it didn't have that downward spiral that most shows have.
Yeah.
I also watched the whole first season of Walking Dead in one sitting. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Welcome to 2009.
I know.
Or
I
10.
play a lot of video games.
Makes you feel any better. I haven't watched any of the second season yet.
Seriously?
I haven't either.
Oh, you missed out.
Get on that shit, man.
Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, it's not great. It's not as good as the first
I've heard
season.
so many mixed that I was kind of on the fence, and then before I knew it, it was like a couple episodes have passed, so now if they're in break, it might catch up. We'll see.
Okay. Well, coming out on December 20th, right before the holiday, because these are the movies they want to sell. Sell to your children. Columbiana. That's the Luc Besson produced film about Zoe Saldana as a badass killer chick. Warriors, the Tom Hardy movie about MMA fighting, which actually has gotten fantastic reviews. I really want to see that. Dolphin Tale, which I reviewed many, many episodes ago, and I loved it. I don't care what anybody here says.
Not the one you said you cried on?
I did cry. That dolphin is very sad. Very sad. Glee 3D concert. A lot of Glee talk this week, and I'm really sad about that. Straw Dogs, which is the, from what I read, horrible remake. Really, Brad has no desire to see it. The Tempest, which is a Helen Mirren flick. New York Inc.
Tattoo show.
Yeah, it's a tattoo show. And Catch 44, which is it's a very low. It's a Bruce Willis straight-to-video flick. It was supposed to go to theater, but apparently it wasn't good enough. So, out of those, what would be your pick of the week? Brad, you can go first. Your guess.
I'm going to go with Warrior, because I like Tom Hardy, and I'm a big MMA fan, so.
Okay.
It's
Who were you rooting for last week?
What's that?
Who were you rooting for last week? Was there anybody you were rooting for? The MMA fights?
Oh, John Jones.
Yeah?
Probably the best pound-for-pound fighter.
Nice.
I mean, he hasn't had a chance to prove it all the way, because there's no competition for him, but actually this week was probably his biggest competition, and he choked him the fuck out, so.
So he's the guy?
Yeah, he's the guy, and there's going to be, he's going to probably have that belt for a while.
Nice. Brian, what's your pick of the week? If you had to
I was just thinking that sounded like one of Scott's dates in the past. But,
choked that bitch out?
Choked him the fuck out, but.
No, he literally choked him out. Just for anybody who doesn't watch MMA, it was awesome because he was choking him, standing him up, and this guy is probably a good 6'5" or something, big tall guy, standing up, choking him, choked him out till he passed out, then let go, and the guy dropped like he was dead. It was awesome.
Except for his family, who were scared shitless at that moment.
Oh, they're
Daddy.
If he's fighting in MMA, I'm sure they're used to it, but it was awesome just to see that.
Nice.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Brian, what's your pick?
Well, it was kind of a toss-up between Straw Dogs or Warrior, because I really like the original Straw Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he knows something that I don't about Straw Dogs, so I'll go with Warrior also.
The reviews are better. That's all I know about it. The reviews are better for Warrior.
Gotcha.
Scott, what's your purchase of the week?
I have very little interest in any of these, but if I had to pick one, I was going to say Warrior just because...
It makes you sound more manly?
No, because of the reviews and the idea, isn't it? Something about like he's fighting his brother and one of them, that kind of seemed interesting, but I'm not a big MMA fan. But like I said, just reviews made me more interested in that than any other, especially in that Dolphin Tale.
I love Dolphin Tale, but I don't want to buy it. Warrior is definitely my pick of the week. So basically, it's unanimous. Warrior. Go see it. It didn't make much money, but it supposedly is a very good film. With that, we are going to go to our flashback of the week, which is every week we talk about a little-known or obscure flick that one of our podcasters have seen or heard and wants you to know about, and you probably don't know what the hell they're talking about. This week, it's our guest host Brad's turn. So, Brad, take it away. Sell your movie.
All right. It took me forever to figure out which movie I was going to do because I'm sure Aaron expected me to do something really fucked up.
Hey, it's your choice.
Yeah, so I did have a backup that was a real fucked up movie, but I decided against it. And then I also had a normal movie, but I decided to choose this movie just because next year, probably one of the bigger movies that's coming out is The Hunger Games. You guys talked about it a bit. And this movie when people talk about Hunger Games, this movie gets brought up a lot because the premise is very similar, probably to the annoyance of the Hunger Games fans, but that would be 2000's Japanese movie Battle Royale.
Oh.
Which I'm going to try to go through this description here as quick as I can, but basically it's set in a futuristic Japan where there's a totalitarian government who there's the one thing about this movie is the beginning's real brief. It kind of throws you into what's going on. So there isn't really a huge description about why they're doing this, but basically the government's taking over, there's widespread unemployment, that sounds familiar, but students and stuff are out of control. There's a lot of people boycotting schools, and one of the ways that the government tries to keep everybody in line is by something called the Battle Royale Act, where each year the military chooses one random high school class to participate in something called the program, where they take the class and the students all have 3 days on a remote island to kill each other until one remains.
Sounds really like the exact same plot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Which made me want to bring this up. so there's this class. There are about 40 students. They're all forced to wear like collars, very a la Escape from New York. It has like monitors each student, and has like a bomb armed to it. So if they try anything, or if they try to take the collar off, it'll explode. If there isn't a survivor after 3 days, all the collars explode. So
holy shit.
Yeah. So
That's an added twist.
Yeah. All right. So you got this class of about 40 students who have to participate in the battle royal, including 2 who appear to be volunteers. One of them is a character named Kiriyama, who is basically just a psychopath who's there because he just wants to kill a bunch of people. So he's running around causing havoc throughout the movie. And then there's another one named Kawada, who is a survivor, who you actually learn a little bit later on, that he's a survivor from a previous battle royal. And he's being brought in, or he kind of like alludes to that he was drugged in there, but then later on they kind of hint that maybe he actually did volunteer to get there. So that's a whole nother thing. But he seems to be up to something. So anyways, got this whole, like, all these students on this island. Each student is given a duffel bag that has like different supplies and a map to keep like an idea where they're at. And each one has a random weapon in it. And the weapons can be anything from a machine gun to a person having like a pot lid or like a flashlight.
Really?
Yeah. So, but after they get through that, the probably first 20 minutes of this movie, they're just kind of setting up that whole story, what's going on. After that, basically all the students are on the island. Some of the students are, they go gung-ho for it. They're trying to kill everybody. There's some that are trying to, figure a way to work together. For the most part, the movie follows 2 characters, a boy and a girl named Shuya and Noriko. And basically they're just trying to survive without having to really play the game. This movie is directed by Kinji Fukasaku, who I know that's a familiar name to all you guys, but he's probably the only thing in North America he's really known for is he directed the Japanese part of the movie Tora 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 about the Pearl Harbor invasion. Yep. For stars, the only people probably anybody in North America might recognize is one of the main characters is Beat Takeshi, who's he's like an old prolific like Japanese actor. He's been around forever, a comedian. If you've seen anything Japanese, there's a good chance he's been in it. And then there's a small part with an actress named Chiaki Kurihama. She ended up getting she got seen in the movie by Quentin Tarantino and ended up playing Go-Go in First Kill Bill.
I didn't know that.
And this is pretty much like as far as I know, this is the movie that Quentin Tarantino saw her in. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a movie, it's real violent, nihilistic, but I mean, there is a heart to it, and to some extent.
Does Hunger Games totally rip this off?
I don't, from what I've read, because I mean, obviously, yeah, people brought it up, the premise, but I think the Hunger Games is a little bit more lighter, I guess, because this movie is just pitch black. I mean, it's students just gunning the hell out of each other for the most part. I mean,
it's pretty vicious.
Yeah, it's real brutal. This is a movie, Hollywood kept talking about remaking it for years until about 5 or 6 years ago. There was kind of a string of college shootings, the most notable being the Virginia Tech shooting. After that happened, they're like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do anything with students killing each other for a while. Yeah. So that's been put on the back burner since.
Too soon. And since we had that just happen, you figured that's a good one to bring up.
Yeah.
So, let's try this again.
Yeah. But anyways, like I said, this is obviously the premise is real similar to Hunger Games, but I've heard it like discussed enough to where there obviously must be enough differences where it's not a complete copy. But if maybe you're waiting for that movie and you want something to kind of get you started, you can get this. You can order it through Amazon. I believe Netflix offers it on DVD, but they don't have it streaming. And there hasn't really been an official American release, but I know off Amazon and Netflix, I believe it's like a UK edition that's like an all region. I mean, you could if you want this movie, you could seek it out, but you're probably not going to find this at your regular.
It's easier to find. It's easier to rent than it is to buy.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's Battle Royale.
Yep, Battle Royale.
And the funniest part about that, Brian, is my brother can say all those names correctly without even hesitating.
Or without doing a Hispanic accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good. I'm glad somebody's got that skill because you've obviously you didn't inherit that gene.
No, I didn't.
Speak a little Japanese, so that helps.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto?
Yeah, it's
Is
a little
that-
off. Domo arigato gozaimasu.
God damn it. I can't even
What
get
was
this.
the lead character's name in that?
In this?
Yeah.
I know his first name's Shuya. I want to say his last name's like Nakihara, which I think that's what they usually call him. So they usually call him by their last name.
I thought you said one of them was Kiri something, which Kiri is killer for
One of the main villain basically is Kuriyama.
Kiriyama.
Yeah.
Kiriyama.
Kuriyama.
All right. Well,
Anyways.
that is Battle Royale, so if you want to check that out, that sounds like an interesting title, and that is subtitled, correct?
Yeah, there's no dub.
There's no dub.
Sorry.
That's okay. I can read. We're going to move on to From the Outside In. That's where every week we talk about a topic that's either on ours or our listeners' minds. This week we're kind of going to look back and forward at the same time. 10 years ago, Lord of the Rings was first released. So it's the anniversary of that release. And as everybody that is a movie fan probably remembers, that was basically a film that was New Line spent $300 million on. Said film all three movies with a very little known director at that time, Peter Jackson. I mean, he just done a bunch of very cult movies and just gave him free reign. Said, go to New Zealand, make this movie, spend all your money, whatever, to make this trilogy. Since then, movies have changed a lot because when Lord of the Rings came out, people didn't know what to expect, and the thing was a huge success, both artistically and commercially. Led to, I can't even tell you how many other movies that were filmed that way, where they started to look at it in terms of, let's do a trilogy. They said they amped special effects because once Lord of the Rings Two Towers came out, and what's that little fucker's name? Gollum. The Gollum special effects, I mean, really changed how capture animation progressed. Really changed the landmark and scope of film. So we kind of want to talk about how films have progressed since then, and just kind of what do you guys think? How do you think the Lord of the Rings trilogy changed film in general? Go ahead, Brian.
Well, you notice a lot more studios are doing the trilogy thing now. Even if they're not based on a intellectual property, I guess like a novel or a series of novels. Yes, Batman for one is kind of they've turned that into a trilogy. It's so I don't know, that's one thing. I think one of the main things is the Weta studio that did all the special effects really kind of raised the bar as far as special effects goes, and I think you can accredit some of your more recent stuff like Planet of the Apes. The ability to do a movie like that now is because of that, the company that created those effects for Lord of the Rings. So because Andy Serkis, the guy that is responsible for most of the ape movement and stuff in that movie, is the guy that played Gollum. And that was the first time an actor was captured on film, but I guess was overlaid, so to speak, with animation.
Mm-hmm. And done so convincingly.
Yeah, right.
And really, I do think the one thing I think is most important in terms of my viewing pleasure, my enjoyment, I guess, as a fan, is that Return of the King won the Oscar for Best Picture, which I would say that Fellowship of the Ring is a better movie, but that's my personal opinion. But it seems like it was a reward for the whole trilogy, not just for one film, which is fine. But it was I think it was the first fantasy film to win Best Picture, if not one of only two then or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Because I don't think Wizard of Oz ever won, and I think it really was the first fantasy film to ever win. And I really think it brought attention to fantasy film in an artistic light, to where nerds got cred, I guess. You know what I mean? Where before, these kind of movies were just seen as little cult gems, and people didn't really, only nerds watch that. Everybody I know loved Lord of the Rings. Everybody.
Yep.
I can't think of anybody. I mean, from and I remember my even devout Christians were watching this, with wizards and warlocks and shit. And I remember having a discussion with my uncle. Remember this?
Yeah.
How Harry Potter's bad, but Lord of the Rings is okay.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand that argument still, but
So it takes place in an imaginary world. you know.
Exactly.
Oh, I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do because you hate Christians.
I hate Christians.
But
Just Tim Tebow.
Lord of the Rings, it kind of like is one of those movies that brought people together, and they just it seemed to bring all kinds of communities. It seemed to bring the people that just like generic shit like Titanic and stuff like real deep cult stuff. You know, like the Lord of the Rings, the actual books are very deep and very introspective and very literal. I mean, it's a hard book to read. It's a good book to read. And I say book because it was originally one book. It wasn't originally the 3 stories it is now, but it's a very deep set of stories and very, very hard to read. But for some reason, Peter Jackson found a way to translate it well. And even better, if you can find the extended editions, then you can sit on your ass for that long. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Has it changed how you perceive like fantasy film? Are you a little less apprehensive about fantasy films these days than you were before then?
No, I think it's more not so much for me, but for the common everybody else that didn't read these kind of stuff or didn't read comic books. I mean, look at comic book movies, how they've come. Mm-hmm. I think this kind of is one of those, like, wow, this stuff really can be successful and people can really like this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, you ask like anybody that I work with who Spider-Man was before 2000, and they wouldn't know, or Spider-Man or Batman.
Well, that's just sad.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
crime against humanity, really.
I mean, look what we've got since then, like the Watchmen series, which I've never heard of. You know, but I could appreciate that movie. There's just been so many like comic book type stuff or stuff that, like you mentioned, nerd stuff that is being done now that, you know, this kind of springboarded that, I think, a little bit.
I think it's springboarded to be serious. Like, people take it seriously. I don't think they're taking it with such a jokey angle that they used to in terms of these kind of movies. I mean, look at Legend. Remember Legend?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
And Krull.
Yeah. Krull. Oh, God. That one was in 3D, too. I remember that.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was really shitty 3D.
That blade thing just like comes out.
What about Space Hunter 3D?
Oh, I saw that movie on HBO like 1,000 times. It was always on HBO. It's horrible.
I don't know if I ever saw it in actual 3D, but I watched it on cable quite a bit.
And there was some Peter Weller one from the 80s that was just horrible, too, that was on all the time. Yeah,
RoboCop?
No. He was in RoboCop.
Well, he was RoboCop.
But it was just like an old 80s movie. It was a shitty movie. But I guess it's a little off topic. But,
yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting to talk about because I think, you know, a lot of studios are doing the trilogy thing now where every fucking series has to be a trilogy. And now that they've gotten to the point where, because of, I think Lord of the Rings started this, where they make a movie that's successful, then they say it was part of a trilogy. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is a prime example.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that was a one-off movie. And then suddenly we've got a trilogy.
Yeah, should have stayed a one-off.
Yeah, I don't get what the trilogy came from because, you know, they basically went back to the drawing board, watched the first movie, and tried to find things. And this is true that you can listen to it in the commentaries. They actually went back, found parts of the movie, of the first movie, to create a trilogy. So basically, the first movie, they had no idea there was going to be 3 movies. They really, I'm sure secretly, they're like, this is fucking done.
Yeah.
But then they found out, oh shit, we made a shitload of money. We're going to have to make us a trilogy now. And
have there been any series that have done that slated to have all 3 filmed before the success?
No.
Because that's
they have done 2, but they were all sequels. They did, like, Back to the Future did it with the second and third one. Matrix did it with Reloaded and
right,
and whatever.
But I mean, these were like, we're going to go film all 3 front to back.
Yes,
without stopping, with whether or not.
And it literally would have bankrupted New Line.
Yeah.
I mean, they put all their money into this. All their Freddy Krueger money went into this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think this was basically their Hail Mary pass.
Yeah, and it landed.
Yeah.
And of course, they blew all that money, and now they got bought by Warner. Or they're basically just.
Well, they probably just extended the inevitable. You know?
Yeah. Which is sad because they made like $3 billion off of Lord of the Rings because it was one of the most popular franchises of all time, and somehow they lost that money.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson's still spending it though, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
He's not hurting.
He's making Tintin.
Yeah.
Or he's producing.
He's producing it. Yeah. He's probably sitting on his ass eating Cheetos.
No, he's all skinny now.
Is he really?
Maybe he needs more money. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's doing The Hobbit. He ran out of it. He blew that Twinkies. Yeah, he blew that money.
Hey, well, the movie, the Peter Weller movie you were thinking of, was that at Buckaroo Banzai?
Yes, in a space dimension or third dimension or something like that. Stupid title. Yeah, I saw that 1,000 times. Whoever the chick was kind of cute though. She was in there.
It's not a terrible movie.
It's not a great movie.
It's a very.
But there's a lot of.
If you've seen it 1,000 times, it gets terrible.
Like John Lithgow and.
Oh, in that movie?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there we go. We recommended something. Go find Buckaroo Banzai. And
it has a decent cult following.
Yeah. It's not a bad movie. It's just I've seen it so many times, I can tell you everything wrong about it. Everything. Well, that's it. And you guys can get that where Lord of the Rings fans can be pumped because The Hobbit's coming out next year, December of next year, and then that's going to be a 2-parter because everything has to be, now they have to do 2 parts for everything because they want to make as much money as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Which, that's fine.
It doesn't seem like, I don't know if like studios are really taking that risk very much anymore. Like, it seems the only time they really want to go out and do, at least the last couple of years, like when they want to do like full out series, it's usually something that's like a safe bet, like Twilight or
Harry Potter.
I mean, they're talking about doing a whole new trilogy with the Pirates movies, but I don't know if they're going to do that now that domestically the new one didn't do terrific.
Well, I think worldwide it did huge.
Yeah, it did worldwide, so I'm kind of curious if they'll do it or not, and if they're going to do the next 2 together or anything like that.
I hope so. I mean, I like the new Pirates movie. I know I'm in the minority, but I had a lot of fun with it.
I mean, they're taking a risk with Green Lantern, which I didn't see it, but it looked god-awful, and apparently no one else really went to see it either, but they're committed to making that a series, so, I mean, there's small risks, but it's green, it's a comic book property. It's like they're not gonna quite go out on too far of a limb. I mean,
I would be surprised if they actually make that sequel, though.
Yeah.
Because it really didn't even make enough to cover its budget.
No. And I mean, I didn't really hear too many great reviews of it.
I'm one of the few people that liked the movie.
I thought it was all right. I finally watched it.
It was a bit cookie cutter, and I think now that they've got all the kind of the backstory done, I think if you get the right people in charge, you can make a good one. And I really think now that they've got the backstory done, just focus on whatever good story they can, and just because the special effects were good, it was just missing, it just kind of, it missed that it factor.
Okay.
Fair enough. Well, that was our From the Outside In topic. Just kind of a little reflection on how films have changed since Lord of the Rings came out. I really am looking forward to The Hobbit because Peter Jackson's behind it. I wasn't looking forward to it before.
That's the one book I read. Oh, I didn't read the other ones.
Oh, I read all of them in high school. That was the only class I ever went to, was English class, and they made me read that damn thing. So, in retrospect, it's been 10 years. I actually think I might throw down the 3 movies over Christmas. Just like watch them, with the wife here and there.
And those of you with cable, the Encore channel, which is, I guess, a sub-channel of Stars. Lately, they've been showing all three movies, extended editions.
Oh, I'd like to watch that, but that requires a lot more time than I have.
I had to watch the last 2, the second and third movie in shifts, even the regular version.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, I can watch them straight through. I love the movies.
Oh, yeah.
I like walking. Big fan of it. Big fan. Okay, well, that's that. Go check out Lord of the Rings if you haven't. If you haven't seen it, you missed out on one of the film treasures of the last decade. And that is really our podcast. There's really nothing more. Next week, we'll have reviews for Sherlock Holmes' Book of Shadows and hopefully Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Thanks for coming out, Scott.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Brian, for being here.
You're welcome.
When he responds. And Brad, thanks for coming out and being our guest this week.
Yeah, thanks,
Appreciate it. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts you want to give before? Any movies you want to recommend? You want to shout them out there? Some random Japanese gibberish that nobody will understand?
I got nothing.
You should have been able to say, like, fuck you in Japanese and leave with that.
Man.
He doesn't want to disrespect the Japanese culture.
I can ask for, like, directions and stuff like that.
'Cause that'll be handy in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, we are the Hollywood Outsider. You can always find us at thehollywoodoutsider.com. That's thehollywoodoutsider.com. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider. You can email us with any questions, concerns, thoughts. You want to give us a From the Outside In topic at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Be sure to tell your friends, subscribe to us on iTunes, Zune, Google Reader, listen on your Stitcher Radio app. That's Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do listen, or just any plain old RSS feed. We're also on Twitter at H_outsider. With that, we are the Hollywood Outsider, and remember, the next time you go see a movie in a theater, buy popcorn.
wanna go home. You're unable to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home.
I can't help it. I smoke like a pack a day, so.
That's right. You should have that nice rusty voice.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
See, I thought it was Demi Moore over there.
Hey.
Ashton.
Ashton, why?
Let's worry about Brian. You want to introduce yourself to Brad so he kind of knows you a little bit? I mean, outside of just listening to you on the podcast.
Brian enjoys
Hey,
long
Brad,
walks on the
I'm
beach.
Brian, if you haven't figured that out already.
What are you wearing?
Don't ask him.
Oh, a construction hat and a hula skirt.
I'm out of beer.
Already?
Yeah.
What are you, Scott Clark?
Yeah. I don't plan to get white girl wasted, but like to have a little
White
buzz.
girl wasted.
The thing is funny, Brian, is my brother's kind of an introvert. Like, he and I are polar opposites in, like, social situations. Like, I'm the one that has to talk to everybody. And
Yeah, Brad's not an asshole.
yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
So behind on other shows, I'm trying to get back into Doctor Who, actually. Trying to get caught up on that show.
You like who?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And Justin's not here.
Oh, man.
Oh, thank God.
Every week he wishes he had somebody that liked that fucking thing.
Yeah, well. Paid to talk.
He gets tired of hearing his own voice because he's yelling at people all day.
Yes.
I like my voice more. I wish I could hear it more often. I'll make a podcast.
So I can listen to myself.
So I can listen to myself.
Hard not decision for me letting you go. No time to visit, I just wanna go home. You're unable to understand that I'm doing the best I can, and all I know is all I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. I'd rather be home. You said my love is blind, I just gotta clear